Welcome to the Week 16 Honest, the only honest power rankings there is. Power rankings, where it starts to get real. And I've just been alerted by the NFL that instead of meaningless tiebreakers like conference record or strength of schedule or any of that BS, the number one criteria for making the playoff behind win-loss record this season is your team spot in my power rankings. And of course, where the curse wheel lands. Last week, it failed to bring down the Lions. A rare loss for the wheel. The first time this guy's been wrong since week 4, I believe. Now the playoffs are near, which means I'm cutting all the bullshit. No heaven, no hell, just the top 14 teams in the NFL, starting at 14, the Texans and Seahawks. All right, you're both on the bubble. You both got huge wins with your backup QBs, and I thought you would both end up in the playoffs. You each play the Titans within the next 2 weeks, but Seattle has a much easier path to get in with the Steelers and Cardinals on the docket. Unfortunately, Houston, you're going to be without CJ Stroud again this week as he remains in concussion protocol, and maybe Nico Collins comes back when CJ does. The Texans play the Browns, which, yes, means I will be watching former Broncos quarterback Case Keenum face former Broncos quarterback Joe Flacco, two guys I thought would save my team who are now in a position to keep my team out of the playoffs. You know what? Fuck it. I am in hell. I am in hell this week. 13, Buccaneers. It's true that someone has to win the NFC South. I mean, we could just give it to one of the AFC teams, but that would be a disservice to Baker Mayfield, who's got the Bucs one win ahead of where Tom Brady had them in 2022. Suck it, Brady. Hell, Baker had the highest PFF grade this week of any QB. They've got a pretty even schedule going forward with back-to-back games against the Jags and Saints, but they get the luxury of playing Carolina week 18 if they end up really needing a win. Number 12, the Eagles. Now, Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since December 3rd. He was the least effective QB this week, memed into oblivion, and you cannot have that, especially in December if you want anyone to take you seriously. Every quarterback has a bad day, but truly great QBs are still better than a handful of dudes when they have an off day. Hurts wasn't. If Christian McCaffrey can diagnose the Eagles' offense from his couch.
Jalen Hurts is running a QB draw to the left. The tight end's going to pull. He's deep. Tight end's deep, so he's sifting backside. There you go.
Ooh, look at that. Look at that.
Eli. He sifted, but it wasn't to the left.
I think they might be a little too predictable right now. Now, Philly promoted Matt Patricia to defensive coordinator for that game, and he will continue in that role for next week. Hoping Matt Patricia can save your season is like hoping Santa Claus will still bring you presents after you throw batteries and snowballs at him. It's why the kids in Philly don't even bother celebrating Christmas anymore. Santa, don't fuck with no Eagles fans. Number 11, the Rams. Now this is going to sound crazy, but I think the Rams might be the third best team in the NFC right now. I believe they'd beat the Cowboys and Eagles with ease if they were playing them this week. All right, maybe not with ease, but I think they'd win. The Eagles' loss also helps the Rams because if the 49ers can clinch the 1 seed in Week 17, they'll likely play their backups against the Rams in the last game of the season. Unless they take the Brandon Staley approach. But shit, I'd still be worried about playing Kyle Shanahan's backups, actually. Number 10. The Colts. In his last 3 games, Gardner Minshew has thrown 6 touchdowns and just 1 interception. And the fact that the Colts are smack dab in the middle of the crowded AFC playoffs is a testament to first-year head coach Shane Steichen, I'm a Steichen stan, who should probably win Coach of the Year. Or maybe Jeff Saturday should be publicly flogged for wasting a talented Colts team last year. It also looks like they might have made the right decision to move on from Shaq Leonard, given that we saw him on Monday night not tackle. But there might be a bit of trouble in paradise. Both cornerback Tony Brown and wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie have been suspended for the next 3 games for conduct detrimental to the team. 2 guys that have played in almost every game this season. I'm not sure the McKenzie loss is a huge deal, but the Colts aren't too deep at corner. Remember, the Colts cut corner Isaiah Rodgers at the beginning or before the season when he was suspended for sports betting. Tony Brown, by the way, looks like he got suspended for taking time off to audition to play Captain Hook in an off-Broadway play. Number 9, the Browns. The Browns are 9-5 this season despite their quarterbacks combining for 2 more interceptions than touchdowns. Surely they must have a strong run game. Actually, not quite. They're 23rd in the leagues in yards per carry. Those two stats should help Myles Garrett's MVP case more than his 13 sacks and 14 tackles for a loss. I think we should also remember that this is a team that beat the 49ers and the Ravens, which once again makes no fucking sense. They're just good, and there are no numbers to explain why. Shout out to Kevin Stefanski, though. He's the first Browns coach since Marty Schottenheimer to have 2 winning seasons in Cleveland. Also, shout out to second-year corner Martin Emerson, who has quietly not allowed a single touchdown this year. Today's episode is sponsored by Football Head Coach. 'Tis the season where real football head coaches start disappearing. Luckily, you're the GM and football head coach, which is a lot like franchise mode if you've ever played that. You build your roster by trading and collecting players. I built my team back in October. My coach is Sean Hackett, and my team name, of course, the New Worst. And now it's time to upgrade my already stacked roster by purchasing some new Jingle Bells packs. You can also get upgrades by playing matches, buying players from the transfer market, or participating in player trade challenges. There's lots of options and ways to do it. Now, I love my pass-heavy offense. I'm rolling with Jared Goff because we know how hard he is to beat. Devontae Adams is thriving since Goff gets him the rock, and Saquon is my perfect back catching balls out of the backfield. So I nabbed a Jingle Bells pack to upgrade my defense, and look, it's Dayo Odangbo and Clowney also under the radar tearing it up lately. As you can see, nobody is a match for my unit. Not even Rooster Dude, who had Aaron Donald and DeForest Buckner on D. Now, Football Head Coach is an NFLPA licensed game with real players, and the competition gets harder as you improve your team. It's a bit addicting. I've spent many hours building my team on the toilet. That's right. So download the game with my link below or use the QR code on the screen to get started with Football Head Coach. Number 8, the Cowboys. That Cowboys loss on Sunday was pretty much the Mike McCarthy Cowboys in a nutshell. They can never make the leap from really, really good to elite. And just when they're ready to take that step, they trip and fall on their face. And yet they still clinched a playoff spot and now sit atop the NFC East after the Eagles lost. Now, I like that work smart, not hard mentality. But they still have 2 really tough games remaining at Miami and home against Detroit before they get to face the Commies week 18. But who knows, maybe Washington is now a juggernaut with Jacoby Brissett. Number 7, the Bills. Is Sean McDermott a terrorist? 2 weeks ago it was the 9/11 thing. This week, he made an even bigger anti-American statement by destroying America's team. Maybe it really is
Buffalo all the way this time. Dallas is going down.
That video, by the way, was taken before the Bills played the Cowboys in the 3rd of 4 straight Super Bowl losses. Considering the Bills just beat the Cowboys by running the ball and by having Josh Allen throw for less than 100 yards, maybe the curse has been lifted, Buffalo. Since the Bills made the change from Ken Dorsey to new offensive coordinator Joe Brady, they've averaged 29 points per game, up from 26 through their first 10 games of the season. Plus, DeQuan Jones has been cleared to return to practice, which means one of the most under-the-radar defenses in the NFL might be getting a little bit better. 6, the Chiefs. I can't say I was particularly impressed by the Chiefs' win, but they did what they had to do on the road against a bad Patriots team. I think we saw that this team definitely needs Isaiah Pacheco because without him, the Chiefs' running backs combined for just 48 yards on 17 carries. And since Mahomes has nobody to throw the ball to, running is actually going to be important for the Chiefs for the first time since Alex Smith was there. With 3 games to go, Patty Mahomes has already tied his career high in 13 interceptions. Thought that was going to be a good stat. No, it wasn't. And unlike 2021, he's probably not going to throw 37 touchdowns. And of course, Travis Kelce is averaging the fewest yards per reception of his career. But of course, you wouldn't think there's anything wrong with them considering they have more combined TV commercials than the Jesus Gets Us campaign. I know Jesus really gets me if he doesn't let this team back to the AFC fucking championship game. Number 5, the Bengals. I said it last week and I'm sticking by it. Cincy is better than KC and will beat them if they meet in the playoffs. Now, Jake Browning has faced back-to-back very good defenses in Indy and Minnesota. Minnesota took away the run game and the screen game, which have been key to the Bengals' success in the last few wins with Browning. If you wanted to criticize Browntown for anything, it would have been that he's benefited from some serious yak. In the last game, it was all up to him in the fourth, which was made even more decisive without Jamar Chase. T. Higgins will be the guy until Chase gets healthy, which could be a couple weeks. The good news for T. Higgins, the Steelers, who since he plays this week, literally don't have any safeties. I'll take what is 200 receiving yards on the road for 2,000, Ken. Number 4, the Dolphins. It was impressive to see the Dolphins offense clicking against one of the best defenses like the Jets without the Dolphins' best player, Tyreek Hill, in the lineup. Jalen Waddle stepped up, caught 8 passes for 142 yards and a touchdown, while Raheem Mostert simply lives in the end zone. I think he's got a condo there. The fact that Miami plays the Cowboys this week is perfect. Both teams are 10-4, and whoever wins this game will get absolutely no credit for beating the opposing fraud. That's not my opinion. I love the Dolphins, and I actually like the Cowboys. But to the rest of the cynical world, this is the battle between Bernie Madoff and Charles Ponzi. And for the record, Ponzi is winning that battle. It's not called a Madoff scheme, is it? Number 3, I've got the Lions. Every single team has hit a rough patch this season. Even the juggernaut 49ers, and I think Detroit just cleared theirs. As much as Dan Campbell preaches grit, the Lions are kind of a team that just needs to score a lot of points on offense. I call that finesse. The Lions might be a little bit of a finesse team. Good news, thanks to the 5 touchdowns Goff threw, they're back at 3rd in scoring right now, and they're averaging the 2nd most rushing yards per game at $140. Plus, you survived the curse wheel, Detroit. The only other team to thwart it, like you, the 49ers this season, which confirms you two will meet in the NFC Championship game, or my name isn't Brandon Anthony Perna. Is that my middle name? Guess you'll find out in January. Number 2, the Ravens. After beating his brother in the Super Bowl over a decade ago, you have to wonder if John Harbaugh can do it again against his illegitimate son, Brock Purdy. People think the Niners got lucky drafting Brock Purdy. Wrong. Kyle knew Purdy had QB DNA in him. The Ravens' saving grace, since Mark Andrews went down a few weeks ago, has been their tight end Isaiah Likely, who's combined for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns in 3 games since Andrews went down. One of the things that's been so impressive and underrated about the Ravens' 11-3 record is that they've only played 3 teams that currently have a losing record, and as it stands right now, they don't have any remaining games against losers. They will be one of the most battle-tested teams heading into the playoffs. They've quietly led the league in rushing yards every week, hitting 163.8 per game, a solid 23 more yards than the Lions. Unfortunately, that will be hard to maintain without Keaton Mitchell, who emerged after J.K. Dobbins went down week 1 this season. The Ravens activated, oh God, no, Melvin Gordon off the practice squad. Wait. What if Melvin Gordon wins back-to-back Super Bowls? And number 1, yeah, we've got the 49ers. The 49ers are hands down the best team in the NFL. There's no arguing that, okay? They've gone on winning streaks of 5 and 6 games and will almost certainly secure the top seed in the NFC after the Eagles lost. But I'm really looking forward to their Monday night game against the Ravens, who are easily the toughest challenge left on their schedule. The Niners have 2 MVP candidates in their backfield, and I've talked at length about Christian McCaffrey, but Brock Purdy has recorded a PFF grade of 92.2 and a passer rating of 140 over their last 6 games, which is easily the highest of any QB during that stretch. How efficient are the 49ers through the air? They have the 2nd most passing yards of any team in the NFL, despite having the fewest passing attempts. So very, very efficient, to answer my own question. No pressure, but if this team doesn't win the Super Bowl, it will be the greatest collapse of Kyle Shanahan's career. And here we go. Let's see which unlucky team gets the curse this week. It landed on team number 8. Now, who the fuck did I put at 8?
Ooh, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, Jerry, you're gonna get finned. Your little glory hole gonna get blowholed by the fins.
Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. Can we get to 600,000 subscribers? That would be tight.